UK.
Is the vaccine effectiveness there for all these virus mutations, or are some of them breaking through? And then, of course, the next question is, what do we do about it?
Some 12,000 young people will be part of the coronavirus vaccine study.
In Texas, a show of support against Asian American hate.
We have people dividing people among races and then pitting them against each other and stoking fear and anger against each other.
Governor Greg Abbott at a rally in Sugar Land. Thousands of retired Black NFL players are alleging bias in brain injury payouts. CBS sports writer Ryan Wilson says 2 players filed a lawsuit last summer challenging the practice of race norming.
They felt like if they had just been graded without race being an issue, they would have qualified for these payouts. They suffered concussions, and they're feeling the ill effects of those long after their careers are over. But because of the race norming that we're talking about here, they haven't been able to collect. It's a scoring algorithm used for dementia testing, and it assumes that Black players start with lower cognitive skills. Then they have to score much lower than the white players to show enough mental decline to qualify for the payouts.
Nicki Minaj is opening up about the death of her father, Robert Mirage, who was killed in February while crossing the street in New York. On her website, the rapper said she finds herself wanting to call him all the time, more so now that he's gone. This is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today.
These days, physical distance can keep us safe and healthy, but emotional distance can strain relationships, especially if drugs or alcohol are involved. If substance use or addiction is creating a barrier between you and your child, you may feel alone, and you may not know where to turn, but we're here to help you and your family. Partnership to End Addiction offers free resources, guidance, and support just a click away. To End Addiction, start with connection. To learn more, reach out to us at drugfree.org.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungeredInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AMFM.com.
It's going to be a beautiful day out there with high temperatures getting into the mid-80s. Still relatively low humidity, mix of sun and clouds, but staying dry. Rain chances return into Monday.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Kate Malone, will be along with your full weather forecast. 2 overnight killings are keeping NOPD investigators busy. WWL TV's Paul Dudley has the latest.
2 people were shot and killed in 2 separate overnight shootings here in New Orleans. The latest shooting claimed the life of a man near the corner of Franklin Avenue and Sage Avenues. According to the NOPD, the victim was found dead inside of a parked car. Officers at the scene say that he was suffering from several gunshot wounds. Another person was also shot and killed, this time in the Desire neighborhood. The NOPD says a male victim was shot near the corner of Louisa and Pleasure Streets. He was pronounced dead at the scene. No arrests have been made, but investigators are working both of these cases. If you have any information that could help police, you're encouraged to call Crime Stoppers.
Well, like everything else this season, gas prices continue to creep up as the nation returns to normal. In Louisiana, we're up 8 cents over the week to a statewide average of $2.72 a gallon. AAA analyst Don Redmond says it's not due to the recent cyber attack on a major pipeline.
We're just seeing an uptick in the demand for gasoline. And that's what's been fueling the price for us, more so than the Colonial pipeline.
Governor John Bell Edwards is adopting new CDC guidelines for Louisiana that allow those who are fully vaccinated to be indoors and non-socially distanced in most situations without needing a mask. This comes as just under a third of all Louisianans have completed their vaccine series. Meanwhile, WWL TV's Sharice Gibson has a look at places that still have mask requirements.
And Lakeside Shopping Center in Metairie, they will lift its mask mandate this weekend. That's after the CDC's new mask guidance They say the new CDC ruling makes it hard for them to enforce the mask policy, but they still encourage people to wear them when they visit. Now remember, every store and restaurant in the mall still has the option to set more specific guidelines, so make sure you do have your mask with you. Don't throw them away just yet. While we're telling you about these changes from the CDC, several major chains are keeping their mask requirement for now. So chains like Starbucks, Target, Walgreens, CVS, Home Depot, and Macy's, you still have to wear a mask.
New Orleans Regional Transit Authority announcing a 2-day shutdown of a portion of the St. Charles streetcar line for planned maintenance. Beginning Monday at 6 a.m., service will be suspended from Errado Street to Canal Street along the route. Riders needing to travel the line can access the temporary bus shuttle on the sidewalk side of existing stops at parallel street corners. Service is expected to be restored on Tuesday at 2 p.m. And now the forecast from your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone.
Your Sunday is going to be warm. We'll be looking at highs in the mid-80s with a mix of sun and clouds. Humidity still not too bad, but by tonight, humidity increasing. Monday, humidity will be on up there. You'll notice it. And we'll be looking at better rain chances, just an isolated shower or a thunderstorm through your Monday afternoon. Into Tuesday and throughout much of the rest of the work week, rain chances increasing and hold those rain chances throughout much of the work week. High temperatures are going to be in the mid-80s. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News. For the latest on the pandemic, go to wwl.com/coronavirus for 24/7 updates.
From WWL, the news talk sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, All Things Legal. Just call Nicaud, 1-877. Text us on our Facebook page, or Albert's Facebook page, or my Facebook page, and we'll answer your question. Good morning, Albert.
Hey, Doug, how are you?
Doing good. Let me get your volume up.
There you go.
There you go. And yes, we are a beautiful day. I went to the LSU Alabama game Friday night, and full capacity, no mask. They had 2 people with masks out of 7,000 people, which was like a regular ball game.
Right.
And it was just, it was the first event of total normalcy that, in about a year and 3 months, which was wonderful. LSU won 2-1. They lost yesterday 6-5. They played a rubber game tomorrow. Every game from here on out is an elimination game from LSU. If they lose today, they're not going to go to NCAAs.
How many games do they have left?
They got 4. I think they got 5. I don't know. I think they have 5, but they play a midweek game, Northwestern. But they play Alabama today. They were a good game yesterday. They just came back short in their comeback. They lost 6-5. They beat Alabama 2-1. But it was an interesting game because Alabama had 13 hits in 1 run and 13 left on base. Wow. That was the first time that was done since 1942 in an LSU baseball game. So that was
baseball kills me. I tell you, all these stats, it's amazing. And everybody knows I'm not a big baseball fan. I love the I love the aura around the game and the history of the game and that sort of thing. But and I'll watch maybe the World Series or something. But and I'll watch LSU if they're playing in it. If I'm interested in the team, the game. But it's funny. We went. Aaron and I went. There was this fundraiser we went to, and one of the prizes that you would bid on would be a weekend trip to Chicago, and all expense paid, flight, the whole bit, and then in a Cubs game. And it was funny because the seats were pretty good, and so here we are, somewhat behind the dugout, and there are these old ladies. I mean, like in their 70s, sitting there with the game, like with their little scorecard, keeping all the stats and the scores.
Sure.
And,
Well, you see the old timers do that at the LSU game. I mean,
Yeah.
the ones where they had the old time book, which you used to keep, and they just every pitch, they chart every pitch, and so it was good to be back in a normal setting.
What do they do? What do they do with those low scorecards when they're done? I wonder. You think maybe they're like in the attic somewhere, and every game they've gone to, they've saved and put in a box, and for someone to find.
That's what my dad used to sell that at Pelican Stadium. He lived right across the street from Pelican Stadium. Now the old Pelican Stadium where the Fontainebleau Hotel was, which has been knocked down.
Yeah, Tulane Avenue in Carrollton. Yeah,
right by Jesuit.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, congratulations to Jesuit winning the state baseball championship.
How about that? Yeah.
And coming from a De La Salle guy, that's high praise.
Got to cheer for the Catholic schools when you're in the Catholic school system, right?
That's right. That's absolutely. So congratulations to Jesuit.
Even Jesuit.
Well, they won the state championship when I was a senior at De La Salle, and we had a pretty good baseball team. But
is that the last time they won?
I'm not sure, but that one was our classmate Brian Shearman.
Yeah, of course.
Rodney Legend, Dickie Wentz, and they had a lot of great players, and I think they might have won the American Legion World Series also, if I'm not mistaken. But if any of them are listening, call us and let us know, or text us, and you can clarify us on that. But the Jesuit team in the 80s, one of the great teams. Will Clark was a sophomore in that team.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the great all-time teams in college prep baseball history. And so, they won again. But LSU, they play Alabama today. In fact, I was up in the air whether to go or not. I decided I'm going to sit home and watch it at home. But they have to win today, and then they have to win 2 out of 3 against A&M to have a shot to get in. If they win tomorrow, today, and 2 out of 3 is Texas A&M, they're on the bubble. If they win today, win all 3 at A&M, they're in. Anything less than that, they're probably out.
So what about the midweek game? Does that matter at all? Or do they count wins, or do they count SEC wins at this point?
The most important metric they use is conference. If you're not in, overwhelmingly, is conference on the bubble conference record, which is a source of criticism because a 13-17 conference record is a lot better than maybe certain conference records in other conferences that you may.
Well, that's the SEC mantra every year. Football, not necessarily basketball, though it's getting there, but certainly in football and baseball.
And speaking of the Catholic League, now I know there's a lot of LSU fans who listen to WWL, but they have Trey Morgan. I think he was batting .378 Friday night. He went, I think, 1 for 4 yesterday, 1 for 5. From Brother Martin. He will be the best first baseman in college baseball when he finishes in 3 years. He will be the best if he continues at his progression. But he's just like watching, and defensively, fielding, batting. He will be the best first baseman in all of college baseball when he finishes. He's really a joy to watch.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll let's see. First pitch is at 2:00. Pregame at 1:30 today. Stay tuned, WWL. And also the Pelican season's is basically over. I guess.
But I love watching the backups. I'm the guy that likes watching preseason football, and it's kind of the same thing. You see these young guys getting those valuable minutes, getting game time experience. They played Friday night, and they were up by a point, and there was 24 seconds left. And Golden State got an uncontested layup on offense, so Pelicans get the ball back, and they're down 2. Oh, I'm sorry, they were down 1, and then Pelicans come down and shoot like a long contested 3. They just dribbled it out and shot a long contested 3. I'm like, there's got to be a better plan. There's got to be a better way, that he's telling them, look, we're going to do this. We're going to cut. We're going to back pick. We're going to do something to get somebody open or get to the. You were down one. You didn't need a three, and certainly not a 3 6 feet behind the 3-point line that didn't even hit the goal. And so it's just. I don't know what the problem is, but it's been. It's kind of the Gentry thing all over again. I mean, I get it. If you run a good play, you get an open look and you miss. That's just basketball. But to sit there and dribble it out like Drew Holiday used to do. When AD was on the court, he would sit there and dribble it out and then shoot a shot and hopefully, and then they would send the wrong guy up to pick, and then they would just double the shot because they knew he wasn't kicking it to the other, to the center to shoot the three. So I don't know. Van Gundy's.
I think they're missing at the end of the game, the point guard that can penetrate and either, who can penetrate and kick and get the easy shot or easy layup. Because again, if you go back to the Chris Paul days, we probably won 80% of the games that went in the last 2 minutes because he was able to create the easy shots at the end of the game. Him.
But I agree with that. But there was no movement. I mean, it wasn't like they had 4 seconds and had to shoot the ball. I mean, they had like 21 seconds or 18 seconds left, and they had plenty of time to set something up, run a play, get an open shot. Go to the guy you think they're going to go to and let him kick it to somebody else and try to win the game. But to just dribble it out and no movement, it's like, what? I'll just stand here and guard you.
I think in the offseason, David Griffith's got to decide what is the personality of this team. Because I don't think he knows, because Steven Adams was a good pickup. But Steven Adams is a player who plays around 10 feet of the basket. That's where Zion plays. So you have two people who are playing within 10 or 15 feet of the basket, and you got to decide whether you're going to go 4 out and 1 in, with Zion being in, or what's going to be the person, or what are the pieces you're going to put around Zion to make him most effective. And I don't think they figured that out yet. And so one of the things they have to do in the offseason is have, what is the personality of this team? Are we going to put 4 shooters on the 3-point line and let Zion work on the inside, or do we want 3 out, 2 in? I mean, it's just, I don't think they have decided who they are as a team. What is their personality? And I think they just have like players, good players, but without a defined role that is winning. I mean, they have overlapping skills, but they don't have complementary skills. And so I think what they have to do this year is figure out the players who are complementary to Zion and Brandon Ingram. And because you're basically with Melo and not Melo, Ball and who's the other guard from Milwaukee? You have 2 shooting guards basically. You don't have a point guard, and Bledsoe. And so you need complementary players, and that's what I don't see that they have this year. They don't have enough complementary players that, like the San Antonio Spurs when they were good. A lot of teams that, the Knicks have done a great job with Coach Thibodeau. So
here's the other question, Doug. Who is their pure 3-point shooter?
We lost him.
Yeah, we lost Albert. You're asking who's the pure 3-point shooter? Probably Ball at this point. And
that's what I'm saying. I mean, look, I was watching the Golden State game last night, the Friday night.
Can't hear him.
All right, let me.
Yeah, we got to get you up.
Call in, Doug.
Okay. Yeah. And so I just think that there's not a. He's got to figure out the role players who are complementary to Zion and Brandon, and then bring them in and have a vision, and do not have players on the court who have similar skills, and such as Bledsoe or Ball, and we'll see. To be seen. They better do it quickly though, because Zion, we got a couple of years with Zion, and we want to keep him here. All right, let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your Weekend Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Keep it Locked on WWL for breaking news about the Saints. Powered by Odyssey. And presented by BetQL. Become a better sports
Okay, I've got Albert on the phone here.
or visit BetQL.com today.
At Oakland Heart Jewelers,
All right, and Jesuits' last state championship baseball team was 2011.
Bracelets and necklaces, like no other, and in every price range.
Along with their tennis
From
team.
designers like David Yurman, Penny Preval, Mikimoto Pearls, and Marco Biccico. World-renowned for stunning gold designs by skilled Italian artisans. And of course, shop the Oakland Heart Collection, designed exclusively for New Orleans by our award-winning craftsmen.
Oh, we had a golf in there, too.
At Oakland Heart, we offer extraordinary
all three
in every price range.
that year, I
We
guess.
offer flexible, interest-free financing options. Shop smart, online or around town. Simply compare. There's nothing like Oakland Heart Diamond Jewelry anywhere. For that special jewelry, for that one-of-a-kind love, shop smart for the best prices possible at Oakland Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Beautiful in more ways than one.
If you're building a new home or buying a new home from a builder, you need to be aware of Louisiana's New Home Warranty Act.
Yeah, I've got Albert on the phone.
Deadlines to make claims against the builder for defects in construction. If you don't provide the builder with proper notice, you can lose your right to make a claim. This is Albert Nicaud with the Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm in Metairie. Call me at 504-837-1304 as soon as you discover a defect. Better yet, call me before you sign your construction contract and let me make sure you're protected.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. I trust J&J to protect my home and family.
J&J has protected Louisiana homes and businesses for over 50 years. We shield your home from termites, roaches, ants, mosquitoes, and other pests. J&J Exterminating is Louisiana's largest independently owned pest control company. We know what works in Louisiana's climate. Get the shield.
J&J Exterminating. Yeah. Hi, folks. Joel Myers from my friends at Best Chevrolet. At Best Chevrolet, they know a Chevy buyer is generally looking for three things. Number one, they want a great price. Two, they want a top-notch service department. And three, Chevy buyers want an enjoyable, no-hassle buying experience. I can tell you, you're going to get all three at Best Chevrolet. On Veterans Boulevard, where Metairie meets Kenner, or at bestchevrolet.com. Best Chevrolet, a proud member of the Gale Benson Automotive family of dealerships.
If you're looking for authentic Italian cuisine, look no further than Rizzuto's Ristorante and Chop House, corner of Fleur de Lis and Harrison in Lakeview. Flavorful cuts of meat, tasteful seafood dishes, and all of the Italian classics. Great happy hour specials and Wine Not Wednesdays with half-price bottles of selected wines. Book a private room and let Rizzuto's make your next event flawless. Patio dining available. For reservations, call 300-1804 or visit us at rizzutosristorante.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-638-0727. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-638-0727 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-638-0727 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-638-0727.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Okay, you got a call on. Jesuit did win the last state championship in 2011. And I think he was coached by De La Salle grad Joey Latino at the time. At the time they won. Much like their football coach right now, which is a De La Salle grad, Coach Ryan Manali. Much like their athletic director, David Morrow, who's De La Salle grad. So I guess if Jesuit wants to win, they got to hire De La Salle people to win. Is that something like that?
I guess there you go.
Yeah. They got, you know what? I will tell you this about Jesuit grads as lawyers. Back when you used to go to lawyers' offices before Zoom, you would walk into a Jesuit grad's lawyer's office. A lawyer graduated from Jesuit. The first thing you see is that PhD somewhere in that office.
There you go.
There you go. Somewhere. So
They're
anyway,
drinking the blue Kool-Aid, man.
You know, the other day on Sports Talk, I was on with Christian Garrick, and the Louisiana Superdome Commission announced the possibility that in order to attend a Saints game, you would have to get the COVID vaccine, or that was discussed as a possibility. But the Superdome Commissioner said, no, we're not there yet, but that's something to look at. And we were talking about whether that can be done or not, what type of legal obstacles would be in the, and possibly in the way. And what I wanted to do is give a little clarity as to, where the vaccine is legally and what is it authorized under. And as we said now, they have a federal law which is called the Emergency Use Authorization. It's known, the acronym is EUA. And basically what it says that the Secretary of Health and Human Services has authorized the emergency use of COVID on the basis that there are significant known potential benefits and risks of such usage, and to the extent which such risks are unknown, you have the option to refuse the administration of the product due to the unknown consequences of the vaccine. So it's I used the word experimental. Someone took issue with that. I would say it is not approved by the FDA. Now, in connection with the EUA, you are not obligated to take that vaccine when, quote, government asks you to do that. And that would presumably, filter down to employers, except in Louisiana, whereas real estate, so, you may not be covered by that.
Right.
So the issue would be, could the Louisiana Superdome, which is a public entity, require vaccinations to attend the Saints game? And this is an opinion of a Sunday morning lawyer, that you can't, under the present EUA, be required to get vaccinated for a Saints game. Superdome's a public entity.
Right.
Based on the federal law that's in place right now. Now, I think, I think that would probably filter down to private universities. Now, I know there's some private universities complaining of requiring vaccinations. I heard from but that's an interesting question that's going to arise in the future, because
aren't the New Orleans Saints? But aren't the New Orleans Saints a private entity?
Huh?
Aren't the New Orleans Saints a private entity?
But they're using a public facility.
Well, I understand, but they're renting it at that point, so it becomes theirs at that point, right?
Well, the Saints have a different position, and this is the distinction. The Superdome Commission suggested that may be a possibility. The Saints' position is, we encourage people to get vaccinations, but we're not going to make it a condition to go to the Saints. And I think those, as Christian pointed out Friday, are two different and distinct positions. And so, I think that they actually had. We researched it. I do research every once in a while.
I'm impressed.
This is big green books in our library.
Yeah, right.
So, we got to get rid of those books. They're probably more expensive to get rid of than just keep them up there, huh?
They're giving them away all. And they look good in the background. People look and think we might have read them all. Yeah.
But
it's funny how people come into the office and they'll say, "You read all those books?" No lawyer has.
I know, and they get upset that you haven't.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right.
we got 200 books up there, and they say you don't know what this means. You hadn't read about that. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know. So, but that's another story. But in those green books, which I didn't look at to find this out, they had a case in 2005. It's Doe number 1 versus Rumsfeld, which was the Secretary of Defense under George Bush's time. You had six military men, 6 military who were in the Middle East, and the military wanted to take an experimental. Okay, well, when I use the word experimental, not approved by the FDA. Okay, so when I say that, that's what I mean. Not approved by the FDA. Vaccination for anthrax. Six soldiers said nope, not taking it. This is experimental. The risks are unknown as far as the vaccination is concerned.
Right.
And they took it to court. The court said under the emergency EUA, emergency use authorization, the soldiers don't have to take it. Now, I think it would be different if it was approved. You know, much like, you know, psychologists, you have to take meningitis vaccinations and other public institutions. But they said since it's an EUA, emergency use authorization, those soldiers in 2005 did not have to take the vaccination, and they prevailed. That was the only case I found on that particular law.
Right.
And so it will be interesting to see how this plays out in the future, because the issue with the Saints or the Superdome is going to be very similar to some of the issues that are going to occur with any type of concerts.
Right.
You know, any type of, you know, heck, jazz fest or, you know, whatever you have, it'll be interesting to see how this rubs up against the federal laws and whether that's going to be an issue.
Right.
I mean, what do you
again, the you know, of course, that case was not found in the green books because of state laws that we have. No, I know you're kidding, but the federal law, that would be a federal case based on federal law. So it could be filed, some sort of injunction or whatever, by a Saints season ticket holder in the event that the mandate comes down from the city of New Orleans. They could go ahead and file a federal court case, which I think would give them a little more level playing field than filing in civil district court in Orleans Parish. You know, where there may be some issues with, you know, the mayor, and the mayor might have a little better, you know, home field. So you know, and I mean, I see that being successful if it was challenged. You know, and again, it's if somebody is concerned about that, somebody has high risks, and somebody has a family member at home they're taking care of, watch the game at home. You know, don't make everybody else do it. That's kind of in line.
Now, Friday, the other argument was you don't want to get vaccinated, watch the game at home. That was the other side of the argument.
Of course, it's America.
Right.
I think
Christian was trying to point out was, to what extent do we get to make our own decisions on things that are very unique as far as, because I think there's different demographics for the vaccination versus the risk and reward. As far as, you know, it's a different issue as far as the vaccination is concerned for children, school-age children, and someone who's in their 70s with diabetes and heart conditions. Those are two different situations that aren't a cookie cutter, one size fits all. And I do think there's some circumstances where a doctor may say, you know, the potential unknown side effects, the risk of that is greater than the underlying condition for certain people who are healthy. And so, you know, are generally healthy without any pre-existing conditions. But it's just an interesting issue to see how that works out, because I think, you know, Superdome Commission was a little premature in making that statement, because I don't think that they, you know, as a public entity, they can require that, or if they do, I think they would be subject to some type of litigation.
Yeah.
But We'll see. We'll see. I mean, the other thing too is if you're vaccinated, what is the concern about being someone around someone who's not vaccinated? That's just a question. And if somebody can answer that question for me, call in and let us know. From if you're vaccinated, well, you seem to be immune from it. Right. Let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, hear the music. Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back in.
Back to work, back to traffic.
I can't stand bad traffic.
We can make it easier.
They give me my traffic reports.
Find out where the traffic jams are.
Because
Okay, I have Jim from Pas Christian who has a question about a breach of contract with Major League Baseball.
So that I can take an alternate route.
So you can make it work on time, but then help you get there faster.
Because I don't want to get stuck somewhere for too long.
You want to find alternate routes, and having those kind of reports are important.
Traffic matters to me.
From WWL.
Hi, it's Jan from Toyota. Summer's finally here, and with a great deal on a new Camry, RAV4, Highlander, Tacoma, and more, you can celebrate all of your favorite summer holidays, like Memorial Day, Cinco de Mayo, Independence Day, Mother's Day.
You're doing great, Jan.
Thanks, Dad. Love you. International Pizza Party Day. Pepperoni, please. And by pepperoni, I mean Hawaiian. Let's keep this between ourselves. I have relatives in Boston. I'll take another slice of pepperoni, please. But hold the pepperoni. Let's go ahead and add ham and pineapple.
Toyota, let's go places. Get $750 customer cash or qualified lessons to meet the 2021 Camry LE for $59 a month for 36 months with $29.99 due at cash. Visit Toyota.com for details. Offers available with flight station N6121.
Are you counting on Social Security for your retirement income? Well, according to the Bipartisan Policy Center, Social Security benefits could be cut up to 25% by the year 2029. That's just $1,136 on average a month. If your benefits are cut, do you have a backup plan? If you don't, call 888 Plan Risk right now and schedule a free Social Security and retirement review from an experienced Edelman Financial Engine planner. This is not a filing strategy discussion. It's a top-to-bottom review of your finances, including how Social Security fits into your overall retirement income and what you can do now if your benefits are reduced when you need them most. Call us and you'll also receive a free comprehensive personal financial plan, an $800 value. Call us at 888 Plan Rick by Monday, 10 p.m. and get a plan for the retirement you want. That's 888 Plan Rick or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com.
Hey, it's Tommy. About a year and a half ago, I painted my house with Benjamin Moore paint from Helm Paint and Decorating. It came out great and looks brand new. Now it's time for the inside, and I'm still going to Helm. Well, there's nothing to me. I'm going to call 390-3865. Make an appointment for Jay Armstrong to come over and take a look, measure, suggest, and install my shutter blinds, plantation shutters, or whatever I pick. Inside window treatments are very easy with Helm. Get all the information you need at helmpaint.com.
Get your fix for the food you're craving. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant's full menu is available for takeout or delivery, whether it's lunch, dinner, late night, or all hours in between. Simply go to BobbyHebert.com, click order online, and in no time, you'll be enjoying your favorite dishes you just can't stop thinking about. So, from takeout or delivery, get your fix for the food you're craving only at BobbyHebert.com.
This is Bobby Hebert from my friends at Clearwater Pools and Spas, your staycation headquarters. Let us make your backyard a great family vacation spot for the summer. They're the trusted leader in water treatment and offer the largest selection in above-ground pools, spas, and hot tubs, including hot spring spas. They're the only factory authorized and trained in pristine blue and oxygen sanitizing systems. Visit CWNOLA.com or one of our locations in Covington, Metairie, Baton Rouge, and Pearl, Mississippi. Clearwater Pools and Spas.
If you're cheering on the black and gold or dancing with rock stars, NOLA Protection.
Jim from Pascagoula has a question about breach of contract.
All special events, there's no better protection. NOLAProtection.com.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No hablo español. It's hablo. It's hablo. Bom dia. Good day. Good morning. I think.
But that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you have to actually use it.
Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is really going to help me with that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need. My husband is from Guatemala. I'll apply what I've learned with Babbel to our real-life situations. I've tried other languages, but I was really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estoy con fome. È un loco me café de mañana.
This week, États-Unis is du Vion 2.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. Babbel.com. BABBEL.com. Protect yourself from misinformation about COVID-19 vaccines and more with HealthGuard, a free browser extension that tells you if a site is reliable as you browse online health information. Download HealthGuard on any browser in one click at newsguardtech.com/backstacks.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Open Outfielder Talk and Text line. 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, back. Okay, Albert Nicaud. No, we are on rewind on the Odyssey app. Every once in a while we get Paul. They'll say, you talked about this, and we don't want to pay for it this time. So we'll refer them back to the Odyssey app.
There you go.
Not a good morning to you.
Hey, what's happening?
I'm not much, just not in front of you.
Absolutely. Great baseball weather, too.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I'm not a sports fan. I just, what happened over there kind of rubbed the wrong way, and I had a question whether or not the city of Atlanta, the vendors, the hotels, and everybody else get together and sue the NBL for breach of promise to recoup some of the money that they lost.
It's more of a political issue than a legal issue because but it's a very good question because I think when they bring the All-Star game within the context of professional sports in a certain city, they have certain exceptions. But what they say is they can change their mind without any further liability to the city. That's part of their conditions because they have these lawyers who draw up these contracts. But Albert, what do you think about this? Would there be a detrimental reliance claim for if you were going to bring an All-Star game or a Super Bowl to New Orleans, and then you purchase certain equipment, you labor up, and then all of a sudden the Super Bowl goes somewhere else for discretionary reason? Do you think there would be?
I doubt it. Again, I'm sure on the back of your ticket, in this fine print, there's all this information about, and even more so, we all do it, and everything we get online to do, but you accept our terms and conditions, whether you go through, one of these ticket exchanges or the NFL ticket exchange or whatever, and you can feel pretty confident that all of that's contained in there because I'm like you said, I'm certain that the lawyers have taken care of it.
Well, I could tell you a personal story. In 1997, we got a license for the Super Bowl for a product, and the license said that we had to get a deviation from the trademarks because we didn't know who were going to be in the Super Bowl until 2 weeks before the game, and we wanted to include the trademarks on the product. So we got a deviation, or we got a variance from the NFL, and what happened was in the fine print, we got the variance, spent a lot of money getting the product out in a very short period of time, and then NFL sent us a cease and desist letter saying we're exercising our right to revoke our variance without recourse. Meaning It's a true story. And so we had to, we'd put out all the, the
We
investors.
appreciate the business, but thanks, but no thanks.
Well, yeah, and so because what happened was we didn't have enough time to do Green Bay versus the Patriots. We didn't have enough time to do the full color, complete colors on the logo, so we just had to do it bold. The NFL's like, they protect their trademarks like nothing they protect. They're very, very, very diligent about that. And basically,
yeah, I can understand that.
But basically, we got the cease and desist letter, and we had all this product all over French Quarter and all over New Orleans, and we had to chase down the director of properties, and in a party in the convention center, and plead and beg, and tell us the financial hardship this would do, and fed him a lot of drinks, and eventually agreed to withdraw the variance. But my point in saying that was, even in those contracts, it says, we're going to give you this right, but if we take it back, it's going to be without recourse. And I'm assuming that the NFL, that Major League Baseball does the same thing in connection with the city of Atlanta. So I think that's probably your answer. But
yeah, they just out. It just seems so unfair. Yeah.
Well,
shame that there ain't nothing they can do about it.
One thing that Major League Baseball is doing with the NBA and NFL is they continue to make entertainment political. A lot of people are going just to turn off. They have turned off the TV.
Oh yeah.
A lot of businesses who used to say, "I'm going to get a suite," are saying, "I might go to the game, but I'm not going to buy a suite." And the emotional tie that fans have to the team have been somewhat mitigated because of the lack of wisdom. And there's always been politics around. There's always been politics and political issues of the day. One of the things about professional sports and college sports was you could watch and get away from that for the day.
Right.
Now that you can't, a lot of people are either less enthusiastic about the product, or they turn it off. And to me, that does it from a business perspective. No matter where you are, the political spectrum doesn't make sense to me. But I don't own the team, I don't run the league, so I guess my opinion doesn't matter. But it's just an interesting.
Well, it seems like it ought to, though, because if you alienate 50% of your fans and viewers, then that ought to be hitting home somewhere.
Right.
Well, when I first started radio, Buddy told me we'll have Buddy from WWL for years ago.
At a time when LSU and
Tulane didn't like each other.
Didn't like Tulane, didn't like LSU. You had to be in one camp, and the other camp didn't like it. And Hap was an LSU fan. He was a big LSU fan. So he told me, he said, "I will never say on the air that I'm an LSU fan because I don't want to lose half my audience." So that was a very wise way of
dealing with entertainment.
And so I'm going to see.
So obviously, Doug, you didn't take that advice, right?
I didn't take that advice. We're lawyers. But but actually, with if you look at the ratings, they are great. Like the NBA ratings are greater right now. Now, the commissioner, to his credit, said, "Okay, players got out of the system. We're going to try to get back to basketball." But some of the things that happen off the field, especially LeBron James, it is continuing. It hurt NBA basketball. It's hurt the relationship with the fans and the teams, and that's going to ultimately hit the players' pocketbook. And when it does, that's going to say, they're going to say, "Hey, maybe we ought to rethink this." All right, let's thanks for the call. I appreciate you bringing us up. We'll be right back.
Including Exit, a new true crime podcast when Gerald Conner, Albert Canada's latest died of a mysterious circumstance and $215 million in his customer's account frozen forever, all because he forgot to leave behind passwords or inspected their customers were told Listen to
Okay, phones are clear at this moment.
Get all your podcasts, music, news, and sports on Odyssey.
At Oakwood Heart Jewelers, we're
And you will have about 5 minutes till the top of the hour.
passionate jewelry style intimate expression of your love. A great way to say I love you is with the gift of diamond stud earrings from Oakwood Heart. An Oakwood Heart family member personally searches through thousands of diamonds and chooses only those special diamonds that possess the rare characteristics that achieve the biggest size with the most fire and brilliance for your money. We buy direct, cut out the middleman. That's how we bring you the best for less. Oakwood Heart diamond stud earrings are like no other. Why so ordinary when you can get extraordinary? Shop smart, online or around town. Compare. There's nothing like Oakwood Heart diamond stud earrings anywhere. And nothing says she means everything to you like a gift from Oakwood Heart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Beautiful in more ways than one.
I'm former NBA player Don King. For years, I had carpal tunnel syndrome and joint pain. Then I started having heart-related symptoms like fatigue and palpitations. Turns out I had heart failure caused by hereditary transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare, life-threatening disease underdiagnosed in African Americans. If you're African American and over 50 with heart failure experiencing unresolved symptoms, talk to your doctor or visit JohnKnowsHisHeart.com.
No problem. Boat Stuff has over 100 boats on order. Come in today for Boat Stuff's full line of Mexico boats, including Avid, Blue Wave, Lexus, Sea Fox, and Regulator. Boats and Yamaha motors coming every day all with Boat Stuff savings. Make no waves about it. Get your boat and Yamaha outboard Inside Out, Harvey, Fort Silver, and Avid, or at BoatStuff.com.
Remember when the ice cream truck came to your neighborhood? Well, now it's come to your coffee cup. Community Coffee's vanilla waffle cone coffee cup. Homemade vanilla waffle cone. Now available for a limited time at retailers. You know it's good because it's by Community Coffee, family-owned, 4 generations dedicated to a variety of distinctive cold-flavored coffees. And now, taste the vanilla waffle cone, but it won't be on the shelves for long, so get it while they've got it. Community Vanilla Waffle Cone Coffee. Now that's New Orleans good.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research, met with my doctor, and then finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome.
No one's on the phone now.
Celiac disease.
So getting to the right
We're clear to the top of the hour.
open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms
Here we go.
and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
All things legal on WWL-AMFM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakwood Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, Albert, I was watching weather yesterday, and they started showing the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic for clouds. And I'm like, cloud formations. I'm like, we're already at this time of year.
Yes, we are.
I was going to ask you, now that we're at this time of year, what would you recommend that homeowners do just to sort of get ready for another wonderful year, hurricane season?
Well, and again, it's funny how we'll get a hurricane claim just this late in the game after 16 years later after Katrina, and you would think people might have learned a good lesson from that, but with all of the storms since then, first of all, you want to be sure to check your insurance coverage. Your insurance company and your agent in particular, you might be another client in the file cabinet, your insurance agent. And so it's important to go review your coverages. For one thing, there's something called, excuse me, there's something called co-insurance provisions in your coverage. And they'll typically either be 80% or 90% of the property coverage in your policy. And what that means is, so let's say you've got a $100,000 property coverage limit on your home, and there's a co-insurance penalty at 80%, which means that if you don't have your home insured for at least 80% of its value, not the value of the lot, but the value to rebuild the home, then you're gonna have a problem, because the co-insurance penalty will kick in. So what happens is, if you only have it insured, let's say for 60%, then you're only going to get 60% of your damages returned to you. And so it's an effective clause. It's been upheld by the courts. So especially at this moment, when building materials are out of the sky in terms of cost. I think we've talked about this recently. We're my daughter's redoing a house, and we're helping her get it taken care of. Well, before COVID, a 8-foot number 2 Southern Yellow Pine 2x4 was about $2, and now it's over $6. So the cost of redoing your home or repairing your home has gone up substantially. So I'll be curious to see how the courts and the insurance companies interpret that, because if they use a current Xactimate schedule, then the price is going to be higher to rebuild your home. So, and again, they look at it from a total loss standpoint and not just from the amount of the claim. So make sure you review your coverage. Make sure you review your coverages on contents. You would be quite surprised how much content you've accumulated over the years. Go look at every drawer, every cabinet, every stitch of clothing, all of it. You kind of forget. You think about the big items, but you start looking, thinking in terms of that, and take a little video. Open the drawers and cabinets. Take a little video. Save it to the cloud of all of your contents, and if you can narrate it as you go. This is. The refrigerator. We bought it in 2019. It's a GE, and then move on to the next thing. And that helps you if there's a fire, if there's anything else. You don't want to be devastated by that loss, and then have to sit down and recount and think about all of your contents that you lost, when you can have a list. There are a dozen other examples of things you should probably do, but we can talk about that after the hour.
Can't believe the
World Series hurricane season.
Right.
Wait, all right, we're hour number 1 and we'll be back for hour number 2 in a few minutes. That's two, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. All things legal.
Stay tuned.
Good morning, my girl.
Home of the Saints, 870 AM, WWL New Orleans, 105.3 WWL FM.
I mean, if we have to, we can bring the mattresses over.
And Odyssey Station.
I got that. The trail. They don't lay flat on the trail, so so you'll have a mattress and bed.
I'm Lisa Mateo.
In terms of furniture, I know you want to get the table. The
Rallies
chairs
like
from
this
my
one
office.
in Washington, D.C. and worldwide are
She
being
does.
held in support of Palestinians
Well,
affected
find
by
that
the
out.
violence in the Middle East.
Yeah,
In
find that
Toronto,
out if they have chairs as
called
well,
for
and what
peace.
their what their plan is for today. Because that would be ideal, because then we can get rid of those chairs and that table at the office. And then you can just
The
decide on
Associated Press
hush
is
and they'll
reporting more
only
than
take our
180 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, including 52 children. CBS News correspondent MTS Tayyab is in Tel Aviv.
It's been another night of heavy bombardment by Israeli forces on the Gaza Strip. We understand that the main roads
This is
leading
so
to
amazing how liberally slanted
inside of
and
Gaza, those roads have
anti-Israel,
been
the
destroyed.
national news is.
Prevent many of
And the
those
funny part is,
people from receiving
most of
any
those
kind
nations,
of treatment.
The UN Security Council has called an emergency meeting today in hopes of de-escalating the violence. Business owners are on the fence over whether to ask their customers to mask up after new CDC guidelines say fully vaccinated Americans don't have to. WBBM TV's Marissa Parra reports.
Chicago businesses are jumping to get ahead to say, not so fast.
All my employees were like, what do we do?
Michael Roper and Josh Leisner work in different places, but they share the same skepticism.
We have no way of distinguishing who is vaccinated and who is not.
People pay money to get a fake card before they get a shot.
Corporate chains like Trader Joe's say they'll be using the honor system, but that's a risk Roper isn't willing to take.
We don't want to be a COVID spreading zone among people who are not vaccinated.
The happiest place on earth has updated its mask policy. Face coverings are now optional at Orlando's Walt Disney World, but are still required for indoor rides. The Mississippi River has reopened to vessel traffic near Memphis. CBS's Michael George explains the source of the problem.
Arkansas Department of Transportation inspectors saw a steel beam cracked all the way through, one that's crucial to the bridge's integrity. This main artery for exports along the Mississippi had river traffic stopped for 3 days. They're enormous pieces of the economy, and this is critical for everyday life.
The incident has raised new concerns about the nation's infrastructure. Have you filed your taxes? The deadline is tomorrow. Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt, Mark Stever.
If you file an extension, that's an extension of time to file your paperwork up until October 15th. You still must pay all taxes due, or at least the majority of the taxes due, by the deadline, midnight on the 17th, or run the risk of late filing penalty. So get your extension in, but it's easier probably just to get your tax return done.
This is CBS News.
Get CBS News Radio on the Odyssey app. All the audio that matters to you is on Odyssey. News, music, sports, and podcasts. Download the Odyssey app today. It's all about the nose. It's your air filter, the first line of defense against bacteria and viruses. If too many germs get stuck in your nose, guess what? You get sick. That's why it's so important to keep your nose clean, just like washing your hands. Now there's a better way to keep your nose clean and help your body protect itself. It's called Navage Nasal Care. Navage uses powered suction to flush out allergens, mucus, bacteria, and viruses. At Navage.com, CVS, Walgreens, Bed Bath, Target, and Rite Aid. Navage, Navage.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice
for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes feels a bit hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am Hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungry.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. WWL First News. I'm Tom Kurumian on your official weather station, WWL.AFM.com.
We're going to be looking at a dry Sunday with a relatively low humidity, looking at a pretty nice day out there, and then the rain chances start to return as we head into your Monday.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Jason Malone. New Orleans police are working 2 separate murders in the 5th District from overnight. The first was reported at Franklin and Elder just off I-10. Officers responded to a call of an aggravated battery by shooting at the location. Upon arrival, they found an adult male victim inside a car, unresponsive and having sustained multiple gunshot wounds. The victim was declared dead at the scene. The second killing took place in the Desire neighborhood off Louisa and Pleasure. Initial reports show a male victim sustained multiple gunshot wounds in that incident and was also declared deceased at the scene. If you have any information about these crimes, you are urged to call Crime Stoppers. Hurricane season is about to get underway, and the Sewage and Water Board says they have preparations ready to go. We get the story from WWL TV's Paul Dudley.
Well, believe it or not, we are almost in hurricane season. New Orleans leaders hope some updates from the Sewage and Water Board will ease some concerns about the state of the city's pumping system. The agency now has 3 turbines. The power the pumps and operate its system. That's in addition to 5 generators brought in after the August 2017 floods. City Hall says the system remains fragile, but they are going into hurricane season with a higher level of comfort than last year. Out of the city's 99 pumps, 2 are down right now. One is in New Orleans East, and the other is at the pump station 6 on the 17th Street Canal in Lakeview.
Now here's Mark Menard in WWL Sports.
After taking game 1 of their weekend series with Alabama on Friday, the LSU baseball Tigers got off to a good start again yesterday.
2-1. Going opposite field, it's Cruz.
However, the Tigers couldn't hold the lead. They would fall to Alabama 6-5 in game 2 of the series. The series all knotted up at 1 game apiece. They'll play the rubber match today at 2 p.m. at the Fox. We'll have it for you right here on WWL, starting the pregame coverage at 1:30. Pelicans wrap up their regular season tonight. They'll close things out at home against the Los Angeles Lakers. Still no Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Zion Williamson, Steven Adams, or Josh Hart for the Pels. Tip-off is set for 8 o'clock. And Medina Spirit will not have a shot at the Triple Crown. The horse was upset by Rombauer at the Preakness yesterday. Rombauer beat the long 11-1 odds for victory. I'm Mark Menard, WWL Sports.
Now, the full forecast from your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Aiden Malone.
Your Sunday is going to be another nice one. High temperature will be in the mid-80s, nice and warm. Humidity still not too bad with the southeast wind, but that will be increasing tonight. So as we head into early Monday, you're going to notice a bit more humid. Rain chances only about 30 to 40% chance as we go throughout your Monday. We'll hold the rain chances as we go throughout the rest of the work week. Could be rainy at times, but of course there is going to be some breaks in the rain. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Aiden Malone.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News. For the latest on the
News Talk Sports Powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's all things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Art Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, later today, stay tuned for LSU Alabama rubber game, baseball. First pitch is at 2 o'clock. Pregame at 1:30, and it's always good to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, I always thought we talked about this. You know, you've had hockey migrate to the South. You know, Tampa won the Stanley Cup. Didn't they win it? I don't keep up with that. They had, a team in Arizona. They had one in Los Angeles. What do you think about if they had SEC hockey? I think that would be big. You know, like LSU versus Alabama hockey. I think that would be like huge. You know.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah, right. You went to a boxing match and a hockey game broke out.
That's right. Actually, hockey is a lot better in person than it is on TV. I mean, it's expected. It is. I mean, it is great to watch in person. A lot better. It comes off. I guess what I'm trying to say. It's a lot more entertaining, far more entertaining in person than it is in.
And the opposite is true for a lot of sports. The NASCAR, for instance, I went to a NASCAR event one time. I've got some friends that are big NASCAR guys, and it was great to be at the event. It was great to hear gentlemen start your engines and hear the engines rev and be real loud. But what happens is it's so loud that you have to wear these headphones. And then when you wear the headphones, you can tune into a certain station that broadcasts the race. And so, the cars are lapping each other and you have kind of no idea who's winning. But if you're sitting at home watching it, not that I do that either, but if you're sitting at home watching it, the announcers, show the camera shows the winning vehicles. They, it's a better experience to watch it at home. And then you really can't communicate with anybody sitting next to you because everybody's sitting in their little bubble watching the event with their headphones on.
I learned about NASCAR and Indy because when I was hired by Bill Beck, general counsel for John Nicaud, and he, I just got hired. He was flying over to Houston, and I think he was telling me that Davey, his son-in-law at the time, which was an Indy 500, I think car racer. He asked me, he said, "Do you know the difference between NASCAR and Indy?" And I'm like, "Is there a difference?" And he said, "Uh-oh, we need to have a talk." So on the plane ride from New Orleans to Houston, he'd explained to me the difference between NASCAR and Indy and gave me a primer on Indianapolis 500 racing so that when I met Mr. Meekum, I would not appear to be as ignorant as I was.
Right.
And it was very, very interesting explanation. And, John Meekum at 25, he owned the racing team that won the 1966 Indianapolis 500, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. Graham Hill won. Now, back then, you had individuals who owned Indy 500 teams. Now you have big corporations.
Right.
But he was so actually the year before he bought the teams, he had some experience as being a winner, owning a winning team in the Indianapolis 500, which is huge. So even when he goes back,
which he didn't do with football, right?
Right.
He didn't have that experience of owning a winning team.
It did not translate to football. It was very interesting who was telling me about the aerodynamics about, difference. NASCAR got started because you had bootleggers who were out running the law in the hills of Appalachians. And that's how they got started. I mean, those were the original drivers. Where Indy is, if you make one little small deviation, and and that air pocket comes in, you're flying over the fence aerodynamically. So this is sort of interesting as far as NASCAR, but as far as Indianapolis 500, that course is just gargantuan. It's huge. I mean, anyway, but we got started on hockey. I guess we'll get back to legal as far as we heard the weather forecast by Paige Malone. And I don't know if he's listening, but this is for you. They had a case in Israel about a woman who sued a well-known television weatherman for a false weather forecast. The weatherman had predicted sunny weather, but it rained. Based on the forecast, she left the house unprepared for inclement weather, got sick, missed work, and she sued the weatherman and the TV station for a false weather prediction. And you know what they did? They settled. They settled. So
what did she planned some event or something and it got rained all over?
Yeah, she got rained, but she wasn't ready for the rain. She wasn't prepared. I think her name was Karen. That's a joke. Karen.
It's funny when I was.
Is that what you call them, a Karen?
The
culture.
Right. When I was a young lawyer, there was a guy that we had the insurance. I worked for USF&G Insurance Company. Started my career representing insurance companies, and there was a guy that sued Clico, which was a Central Louisiana Electric Company, and USF&G had their coverage. And so they sued Clico because they had an outage and he had these chickens that he was trying to hatch. And there was an incubator and whatever else, his incubators all went up. So it was like, of course I was just starting out. So they gave me this $3,000 case to go try. And so it's funny. I'm sitting there, and he was a good old boy from the North Shore, and so he's got this. It's not a baseball bat. It was all turned and smooth, but it was about a little shorter than a baseball bat, and he's sitting there holding it in his hands during the deposition. And so I asked him. I said, "Mr. Whatever," I said, "You gonna hit me with that baseball bat?" And he said, "I'm gonna see what questions you ask first." So it kind of took the edge off a little bit. But and his argument was this: so they sent notice out to the customers. It's a little yellow sheet inside your bill that said there's going to be a planned outage this such and such a date, and they did the outage. And anyway, so the same thing. The judge said, "Look, just go settle it. Get rid of this." So they paid him something. But I mean, I had a guy who was like who worked for the Ag Center at LSU that was going to come testify that he killed the chickens. That the chickens didn't die because of the incubator. Because he was like breaking the eggs open to see if if they would hatch.
To see if they were okay.
He checked to see if they were okay, and he ended up killing them because they were almost ready to be born. So it was an interesting big dollar case, but that's how you learn,
Well, that's how I learned. Now I have another one. I used to work at Deluxe, which was my grandfather's dry cleaner. I was 12, 13 years old, getting out but they had a man in Washington, D.C. sued a dry cleaner for $4 million. Now, I'll tell you what, he was suing my grandfather for $4 million. Oh, my God.
He'd had a few suits show up at the house, huh?
Yeah, he was old school. And so the dry cleaners in Washington, they ordered him to the customer said that the judge said they could not prove this. Let's see. Oh, it was based on a satisfaction guarantee. And they said that basically that the dry cleaners had a slogan that said satisfaction guarantee for for dry cleaning, and they lost his pants.
The $54 million.
Well, they
on the
lost his pants. They said
on the $40 pair of pants.
You were guaranteeing satisfaction. You lost my darn pants, so I'm suing you $54 million.
Right.
And plaintiff lost. But that reminded me of a situation I had when I was 12 years old working for dry cleaners. I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a well-known politician. And my grandfather went to small claims court at least 20 times and lost every time. He took it himself. He didn't have to pay the lawyers. And
which is a lesson to all of our listeners, right?
Right now, it's been sold. The family sold it a couple of years ago as Deluxe Cleaners. But my grandfather built the business in 1945. It was very, very well known back then. And in fact, when people complained, he used to say, "Take it somewhere else." That's how much business he had. That's how good they were.
Right.
But we had a well-known politician who said we lost his shirt, and I lost it because of my intake. And
which was probably true, right?
That part was true, but the part that wasn't true was he was saying it was a specialty shirt that was worth 4 figures, I think. And so my grandfather was called bananas because for a couple of reasons. And then we found the shirt.
And your other grandfather sold bananas, right?
Right, he did. Well, that's Banana Joe. That's the Sunseri.
I'm sorry, I digress. Go ahead.
No, Banana Joe had pancake face. We never caught that to his face. It was sort of a and a little Joe, baby Joe, California Joe.
Back then they were all named Joe and Sal.
Joe's and Franks. But no, this is on the other side, the Duplass side. And so we found the shirt. And the shirt was like a D.H. Holmes run-of-the-mill shirt. that was not worth 4 figures. And so
Right.
grandfather gladly returned it with him to him and asked him never to come back again. He didn't care who he was. So, but my point was, you see, it's interesting when you see a lot of lawsuits because people always ask, "Can you sue?" or "Will I be sued?" or
Right.
It's, the question is, I always say,
You win.
the question of whether you're going to be sued or not, or can be sued, is yes, you can be sued for anything. The question would be whether you would prevail or not, because this is America. Anyway, sort of interesting cases, because I think truth is stranger than fiction, and we often see that as lawyers. All right, I hear the music. Let's go to break. That's Terry Albert. We'll be right back
Your new audio home for everything that matters to you is Odyssey.
Odyssey is sports for every fan.
News that hits home.
Music for every mood.
Podcasts to feed your passions.
Find all your favorites and discover new favorites.
All the audio that matters
to you.
AUDACY.
I want to point out to
It's
you
all here in a universe of audio.
Odyssey.
Hey, we get it. You don't want to be
house
hearing a Progressive commercial right now, so let
on
us tell you
December
something you do
16th.
want to hear. No one is funnier
And today
than
is
you.
May 16th.
People laugh just thinking about
Exactly
the
5
things
months
you
later.
said. I'm laughing at one of them right now. Coworkers repeat your
Huh?
jokes at the office, but they're never as good as when you
but
tell them, and
the
shame
mom
on
was
them
like,
for trying.
what?
There. Don't you feel better? You'll also
6
feel
months.
better knowing you could save when you bundle home and auto with Progressive.
Well,
Although I'm sure you
yeah,
can come up with a
it
funnier way
was.
to say that. Progressive
End of
Casualty
March.
Insurance Company
But
affiliates and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all
problem
states and
is,
situations.
There's a lot of streaming
we didn't
services
know we
out
had
there,
to
each filled with
redo the
reality
walls. And we
TV,
didn't know we
comedy,
had to,
drama, and of course, superheroes. But there's one
put new
dedicated
walls in your
entirely to
bedroom all the way
nonfiction
throughout.
TV and documentary films, and that's Curiosity Stream. History, science, nature, we've got it. Space, dinosaurs, big cats, we've got that too. And pretty much anything else you want to explore. Go ahead, add some smart TV to your smart TV with Curiosity Stream. Go to curiositystream.com to sign up and start streaming today. We're all on this planet together, so join
So really,
Odyssey
you
and try
got
your one thing. May is
mattresses
National
to
Bike
a
Month,
table and
so
chair,
use your
right?
bike instead of
And
your
your
car,
clothes.
or for a little bit of exercise.
Yeah.
Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Randy, it's
Bobby
hooked up to
Abear
this
here.
commercial
I have a
leveled it,
boat, and I
and
love my boat. But my
put a
wife
little
said I
pot in
couldn't
there
keep
to
it at the
clean it.
house. And launching it always ended in
It
an
takes a while.
argument. Now my wife loves our boat since we began storing it at Seabrook Harbor Marine.
Yeah.
Jeff and his
And
brother David run
I
Seabrook.
think they
Jeff,
got a
tell
little
me about your
packet.
stackable storage.
Well,
You know, it's
Bobby,
like a
we can store 200 boats
washing
in a
machine cleaner.
38,000 square foot dry stack building. Just give Seabrook Harbor a call, and your boat will
Yeah.
be in the water
Yeah.
ready for you.
And you don't have
Well,
to move
there's a
your boat
box
if
there,
the
and the
storm
box will
comes.
tell you,
That's right,
give you
because we're
instructions
inside the
on it.
levee protection system. Seabrook Harbor survived Katrina, and all of our boats were perfect.
I'm really impressed with your yacht repair yard.
Alyssa
Seabrook
definitely
is
needs
probably the
that.
best on the entire Gulf Coast.
Well, thanks,
She doesn't
Bobby.
have to
From
drive
outboard
somewhere to
repairs to bottom
get
jobs to
Wi-Fi.
complete refits. Essentially, if it's legal, ethical, and it floats, we'll do it.
Tell us about all the other things
Right.
you have.
In addition to our dry stack and repair
Exit from
yard,
there.
we have 33 wet slips, a fuel dock, ice,
Well,
live bait,
those are
showers,
exit
and fish
cold.
cleaning stations.
Seabrook
I'm gonna
Harbor
give her that last
Marine
piece of
on
bacon.
France Road on the Industrial Waterway, just a half a mile from the lake, or online at SeabrookHarborMarine.com.
People come into Diamonds Direct and they can't believe what we brought to New Orleans. A totally new concept in jewelry shopping, with wall-to-wall diamonds and designer rings at prices you never thought possible. But what people like here just as much is our after-the-sale added value. See, at Diamonds Direct, you will never pay to repair any jewelry purchased here. Never, ever. Repairs and maintenance are free. What other stores charge you for, Diamonds Direct gives you free. Ring sizing, free. Rhodium finish, free. New prongs, free. Appraisal, free. Need a stone tighten? No charge at Diamonds Direct. Even if you accidentally knock out an accent diamond, we will replace it at no charge. And while other jewelry stores require you to have your jewelry constantly inspected to keep a warranty intact, at Diamonds Direct, inspections are not
get moving
required.
because she's
Bottom
coming at
line, we
10:30.
stand behind what we sell, so you can
Do
buy
that
with
other
total
room.
confidence. Diamonds Direct, New Orleans' direct diamond importer, where the best value price is just the beginning. In a
we need to
beautiful
move that
showroom on
big
Severn
north
Avenue across from
out
Lakeside
of
Mall.
that room into
Small
your room.
businesses are always looking to
I'm gonna
educate
cut out that
themselves
little
on the
piece of
best ways to have
insulation
meaningful interactions with their
and put it
customers.
on that
That's why Dell
hatch.
Technologies
Take that,
assembled
I'll
an
try to bring a
all-star
stapler
lineup of
and
podcasters
put that
to
out of that
create
room
this
for
year's
it. And then
virtual
the
conference
bedside
to share
table,
advice and
you know, if you want to
inspiration
paint it
for
a
small
different color, but
businesses. Dell Technologies is
yeah,
here
just
to
paint
help
your bedroom.
safeguard your business
And
with
then they have
modern
that blue
devices
box.
and Windows 10 Pro, providing relevant content for your
We can
business's
probably put the
success.
blue
Follow
box,
along with all
you know,
episodes of
on
the
the
Dell
side of the
Technologies
house
Small
outside.
Business
It'll stay
Conference
dry.
on the
There's
Odyssey
some
app, Spotify, or
there's some
Apple
fire
Podcasts.
extinguishers in
Raymond
there,
Ollie
you
here.
know.
Stylish,
And,
quality, custom doors. ReliefWindows.com.
I want
Rejuvenate your
to
weekends
figure out where we
with
can charge them.
RejuvemeMedical.com.
Hey, Baton
Yeah.
Rouge, we want your stuff.
Yeah.
DependableStorage.com.
Yeah.
Now, more All Things Legal,
I gotta go.
underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinions shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. That's Sarah. All things. You know, they have workers' comp. They had a very interesting workers' comp employment case that I want to talk about. Just briefly, sort of interesting. They had a firefighter in the Houston Fire Department who was sued because he was afraid of fire. See, this is truth is stranger than fiction. He was
Yeah.
reassigned to a position where it put him in direct contact with what actually scared him, which was fire. But he wanted to remain in an administrative job in the fire suppression unit where he would not be in contact with fire. So he sued the Houston Fire Department, claiming that his fear of fire was a disability, and that he was discriminated against because he was a fireman who was put in a position where he might be put in contact with fire. And it made it all the way to the Texas Supreme Court, which ruled that there was no evidence that the fireman was discriminated against on account of a disability. So there you go. You know, the disability has been, you know, that's an how do you define disability? We've had that context of the Louisiana inheritance law, and because when if you're there's no forced airship anymore, except if you're under 24 or you're over 24 with a incapacity, which is now also sort of being defined as a lot more broad than it was before. But before we go to back to that, I'll bring you back to another Saints issue. Was in the 70s during Hank Stram, I think, when Hank Stram was coaching, they had a scout for the Saints that took retirement based on a disability, and that was sight impairment or blindness. So that's what Bill Beckmellon says that's true. So and he was there. He was a businessman at the time. He would know. So you were talking about when the Saints lost, and under Meekum, one of the issues was you had scouts who couldn't see, that probably impaired their ability to, scout college pro players. But anyway, I guess what I was trying to lead in to say is under the Louisiana law, under the forced airship law, the word disability now is, I guess the definition of it's being always clarified and expanded. But now, like for under the forced airship law for Louisiana, if you're 24, the term incapacity has been greatly expanded.
Yeah.
And
well, and just the term disability has been expanded just from a Social Security disability standpoint. From anything, I have this fear of this, and I can't go to work, and I got to have my comfort duck with me. So my support duck, Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, I think some of the case laws, service dogs, that you need a service dog.
Well, a service dog is different, between an emotional support dog. A service dog is actually assisting a blind person or, someone with a disability, as opposed to, I get all nervous and freak out. Did you ever see there's a video online? There's an emotional support duck that they actually let on a plane, an airline, and all these people have their camera phones, and they're videoing this duck walking up and down the aisle of this plane because this woman had to bring her emotional support duck. You know, if she's got an emotional support duck, she shouldn't be flying by herself. She needs a little more assistance than that. But anyway,
I think I'll slice me some avocados and watch
yeah.
But
She wanted the avocado lunch, right? Which I love avocados, by the way. So I can't.
I did. I love them too.
Yeah.
So I'm not down on avocado. That's just one of the attributes of, I guess, someone.
Yeah, and one of the questions too, Doug, is just weigh in on this if you would. Do you think alcoholism? Do you think that is a disability to the point where you would be able to?
I think it's
to the point where you'd be able to establish that you were disabled or inability of taking care of your own affairs from a forced heirship or inheritance standpoint. I'm an alcoholic, and I should be entitled to my forced portion.
Yeah, no, I think the law is moving in that direction. The clarity is when it was interesting before. I think when we came out of law school, if you were a descendant and you didn't try to murder your parents, you were going to be a forced heir. I'm saying that there's a few things, lack of contact, but you were going to be a forced heir. And then it was modified by law, which was ruled unconstitutional, amended the Constitution to say that you're a forced heir if you're under 24, or if you're over 24, you have both a incapacity. Now, when it first passed, first of all, we don't have a lot of young people who listen, who listen to the show, but the ones who do, under forced heirship and you don't have incapacity, you got to be nice to your parents. You couldn't be like before and be mean to your parents. So you got to be nice to them. Number two, incapacity was defined very tightly, meaning it was basically someone who was.
It was a high standard.
Yeah. It was someone who couldn't, like a dementia type situation, where they were, couldn't really function at all.
There were special needs. They had some defined issues.
Yeah.
But and now you're right. Now that's getting more and more. I had one recently with a cancer patient, and they had cancer, and were pretty much confined to home and were unable to take care of their affairs. And the estate ended up settling the matter, but it was getting closer and closer to that definition. I can't work. I have this issue, and so they ended up settling the case. So.
Well, yeah, and I think some of the recommendations have been done is if it's a lot of times if you have a substance abuse drug issue, the question would be whether in that diagnosis, whether they would have some type of permanent mental illness,
right?
That could be an incapacity. So there's a couple of ways you can deal with it. You could, one, say that if there is forced heirship and that required bequest is greater than what you wanted to do, you say in the alternative, if someone to be a forced heir, then that bequest could go into a special needs trust, so that they could maintain their government benefit, someone else administrating the money, and not that beneficiary who has difficulty managing their affairs, and you have a third party doing that. There's certain alternatives, but it's coming more common that you have someone who's planning there in their 60s or 70s, and they have a child struggling with alcoholism, drug addiction, or those type of issues. Is a lot of times they don't want to give the money outright because obviously if it's significant amount of money,
Right.
it's probably the right thing you can do to someone who has a drug and alcohol.
Sure, we want to enable their addiction, right, by doing that.
And then also too, if they're receiving government services due to that condition, you don't want to give that to them directly because they would lose those government services
Right.
for the time, for receiving that money. So a lot of times you can address that with a special needs trust where you can have a third party administer the money. It would be for that benefit, but they would not use their government services.
And let me tell you, that whole trusteeship, that's quite a burden. I mean, I'm the sibling maybe, and I'm the sibling that this other sibling who has this addiction has always been jealous of, has always been, this one got everything and I never got anything. And now all of a sudden they're in charge of my money. And now that sibling that is the trustee has to be the bad guy. I want to follow mom and dad's wishes to set this trust up, but now I have to be the one that pulls in the reins and tells my brother or sister, no, you can't have this, you can't have that, and that animosity continues. It's just something, from a personal level, right? We as lawyers can set things up mechanically and legally to say, okay, you're the trustee, here are your responsibilities under the law, you're the income beneficiary, here, here's what you are entitled to, et cetera. But in reality, and from a practical standpoint, it has to be explained to that trustee that, hey, look, this is what's a possibility. These things can happen. These things are going to come up, and are you equipped to handle it? Is this something you want to do? I've got a situation right now with a lady, and I've got a special needs trust and supplemental needs, whatever, and she. There was a question of, she's got a physical disability. And so she's collecting Medicaid benefits, and, her dad passed away. So the trust became funded with this. And she was very concerned because, the trustees that were in line to she has a concern that they were out after her daddy's money anyway, because they were the poor nieces and nephews that never had anything, and so she's worried about that. And so, unfortunately, the trustee was picked and selected by the settler of the trust. And so she's kind of stuck. I mean, you think of a disability, you think of a mental disability, or again, someone with special needs, someone that, but physical disability where you can't work, entitles you to government benefits and those types of benefits. And so without coming into a bunch of money and disqualifying you from those benefits, someone else now has, once your father's gone, a person settled in the trust, once that person's gone, now the trustee holds all of those cards, and it's something you have to really consider if you're setting up a trust.
Yeah, well, and also too, it is again, it saves your government benefit. It gets it out in a way that's orderly, and gets it out in a way that it's not destructive to the beneficiary, and also to what you can do if you're a trustee in that situation, you can delegate that portion of it as far as administration to a bank, let them be the bad guy, and then you'd have the right to override the bank. But otherwise,
then of course, you get into a lot more expense in handling the trust, and so there needs to be a substantial amount in the trust to make it worth having a bank, a bank employee become a trustee, and they charge fees for all those, and rightly so. I mean, it's quite a job.
All right, let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, Alpha Nicaud, Jewish and Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back.
This week, as heard on WWL, the attacks that go on tonight are harassment ransomware attack.
Ransom in the low millions was paid.
Fuel shortages we're experiencing, rocket attacks.
Israel will have no choice but to defend itself.
Liz Cheney is warning reporters the president never attended anywhere near the Oval Office.
What's next? The CDC is saying if you're fully vaccinated, check in office, take off these stupid masks before your week begins.
Now, what kind of sling?
It holds
your bladder operates your uterus.
Oh, Beth had that. She had
At
some
Open
kind
Heart
of deal.
Jewelers, we never settle either. We constantly search.
Yeah,
I have Mark from Covington who has a question concerning the legal aspects of the vaccine.
Many designed and created by our own award-winning
You're welcome.
We're passionate about creating the highest quality ring at the best price.
No, we didn't put the egg because they were going to be cold.
How do we do it? We buy direct from diamond cutters all around the world, getting the lowest possible prices before they we didn't settle when it came to love. Why settle for ordinary when you can be extraordinary for less at Open Heart? That's smart. Nothing compares to true love, and nothing compares to Open Heart Jewelry.
Yeah, I told Allie we got to kind of get a move on.
The following is a true story.
Esperanza's coming
in the mid-70s, and I'd sold her time
at 10:30.
That
So
was the lowest I'd ever felt in my life. I knew then that I had to do something to simply not to go to hell for selling timeshare.
Chuck McDowell founded Wesley Financial Group to help folks cancel their timeshares permanently.
I called her and everybody that I'd sold timeshare to, and I said, "This is what I said to you was a lie. This is what you need to do to cancel your timeshare." From that point, people started referring friends to me to help them cancel their timeshare, and that's how it all started. I fought the world's largest timeshare company in federal court. If I had lost that lawsuit, there would be no one helping people that have been lied to when they bought timeshare. If we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or we'll give you money back. That's what makes us different.
Call Wesley Financial Group now for a free information kit. 800-921-5252. That's 800-921-5252. 800-921-5252.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. Pests in Louisiana are as unique as our state, and you need experience to keep the pests away. Termites are responsible for more than $1 billion of damage in Louisiana alone. J&J Exterminating has over 55 years experience in keeping your home safe. Trust J&J Exterminating to shield your home, business, and property 365 days a year with 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Have you noticed the first four letters of the word paint is pain? P-A-I-N? Hey, it's cool, and I don't know about you, but I don't like pain, and I don't like the pain of painting my home year after year, not to mention the cost. That's why I'm having my home coated with Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic coating that comes with a 25-year warranty.
you don't have to be quiet.
Wood, brick, stucco, hardy board, and vinyl. So do what I did and call for a free estimate, 504-407-2222, 407-2222, or visit RhinoShieldMidSouth.com. Listen, here's the bottom line with Rhino Shield. You'll never have to paint your home or business again, guaranteed. Rhino Shield is perfect for the Gulf Coast climate, resists mold and fading, and it's more affordable than you think. So call now for your free estimate, 504-407-2222, 407-2222, or visit RhinoShieldMidSouth.com.
At Community Coffee, we've been making great tasting coffee for over 100 years. But what makes us different isn't just how long we've been around. It's how far we're willing to go in pursuit of the perfect cup.
I don't know if they were on the same
The week was filled.
Yeah, the week was
And use over 4 generations of
Well,
family
that's going to
roasting
happen
experience to give
when
you
you
the
got
richest,
7.
most delicious coffee around. Find Community Coffee at your local grocery store or visit communitycoffee.com to order some today.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Contes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. Call for a free quote. Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at ASU-LLC.com.
I'm Lizzie Goodman, and welcome to Difficult Artists, a podcast about the creative process. The concept is simple. We're talking to amazing artists about how and why they make what they make. The aim is to learn something new about the people who make the things we love and to inspire. So listen and follow Difficult Artists, a presentation of KB13 Studios, available now for free on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Open Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line 504-260-1870.
We're back. Legal. Give us a call at 260-1870. Also, you can call us on Welcome 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304. Also, 624-969-7. So, yeah, we're talking a little bit about forced airship and special needs trust and how to deal with that situation. Also, Albert, you talked about before that inside of a will you can put a trust for dealing with an adult child who's had some difficulties in life and just in general. And sometimes when a child who has a particular maybe habit or situation and they inherit money, that could make their situation worse rather than improve it. And there's certain ways of dealing with that as far as trusts are concerned.
Yeah, you can set up a trust. Again, some people say, "Yeah, I want to put this money in a trust," and they've got like $25,000 they want to put in a trust. Like, guys, it's not worth setting that up to put into a trust. I mean, again, unless, like I said, it's an only child and there is a supplemental needs issue or special needs issue that they want to protect maintain their public benefits, and in that case, it might be worth it, just in terms of that amount of money. But otherwise, if you have, like you were talking about, an addiction issue, a child with some sort of other problem that or even that just as a young child, where you just don't want somebody who's financially immature. And whether that's they might not even need to be young. They just get $10 in their pocket and it's gone in 5 minutes. And so certainly a large amount of money will be gone in 10 minutes. So you want to make sure that wealth that you acquired is preserved and that it's spread out over time so the person doesn't become destitute. And so you want to put that money in a trust and call out what happened. Another reason to possibly have a trust is you can dictate a few things from the grave, especially with property and things like that. You can say that we're going to form this. We're going to put this property in a trust, and the trust will be perpetual, and these are going to be the beneficiaries of the trust. And then when these people die, then it goes to this people, et cetera, et cetera. And, the other beneficiaries will be collected. There's a reason to do that, especially if you have some properties out of town. Similar thing can be done with a limited liability company. You can form an LLC. The LLC will give you some limited liability protection from lawsuits beyond the extent of your insurance, and and then when you form that, you change the ownership in whatever state from the individual to the LLC.
I have Mark waiting.
And then upon death, those assets are not even considered in your descriptive list. The only thing that is considered is your ownership interest in the LLC that owns all of these properties. So each of your kids, if you have 4, will get a 25% interest in the LLC. And so the properties contained within the LLC are not even affected by it, not even from a title standpoint, because the ownership remains with the LLC. So
All right. Let's. I tell you what. Let's go to a break. We'll get Mark on the line. That's Terry. I'll be
Allie, you want to just have your idea?
Make the most of every lawn with Kubota commercial landscaping equipment. From the productivity-boosting C700 mower to the reliable SVL track loader, it's a lineup built to get the job done right.
I don't know.
Because when your reputation is on the line, you need
They're in
equipment
boxes,
that will never let you down.
You can go through it at home and then
dealer today.
Ascension Equipment in Gonzales is your Southeast Louisiana Kubota
run through it
dealer.
once.
Save more today and mow tomorrow.
This is Bobby
Yeah,
Hebert
but
for my
you know,
friends
she's
at
still may
Clearwater
not know
Pools
some
and
things.
Spas. You
Yeah,
already
just
know
keep-
about our large collection on above ground pools, hot tubs, and spas. But did you know we also build custom in-ground pools? Clearwater Pool and Spas, Covington, Metairie, Baton Rouge, and Pearl, Mississippi.
Okay, Saturday, paddleboarding, craft coffee, Cajun dinner.
Rooftop cocktails.
On Sunday,
check.
farmers market, brunch.
Check.
Ooh, that Greenway ride. LouisianaTravel.com invites you to experience the capital city like never before. The door to a world of exploration in Baton Rouge awaits you. Whether it's a southern food tour, days filled with outdoor adventures, or sightseeing like the locals do, that gets you an unforgettable weekend and discover your Baton Rouge. Our door is open. Visit BatonRouge.com to plan your weekend itinerary.
Are you counting on Social Security for your retirement income? Well, according to the Bipartisan Policy Center, Social Security benefits could be cut up to 25% by the year 2029. That's just $1,136 on average a month. If your benefits are cut, do you have a backup plan? If you don't, call AAA Plan Rick right now and schedule a free Social Security and retirement review from an experienced Edelman Financial Engines planner. This is not a filing strategy discussion. It's a top-to-bottom review of your finances, including how Social Security fits into your overall retirement income and what you can do now if your benefits are reduced and you need them most. Call us and you'll also receive a free comprehensive personal
Turn
financial
yourself
plan
a little bit
and
just so I
$800
can brush my
value.
teeth.
Call us at 888 Plan Rick by Monday 10 p.m. and get a plan for the retirement you want. That's 888 Plan Rick or visit EdelmanFinancialEngines.com.
I struggled with symptoms
And you'll have about 5 minutes to stop there.
I was bloated all the time with diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research, talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth. It was actually EPI.
Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor.
I have EPI, sponsored by AbbVie.
Progressive's home improvement store is changing the way you buy home insurance. Now you can go online, get a custom quote, and save both time and money. Learn more at progressive.com.
I'm former NBA player Don King. For years, I had
Oh, we
carpal
only gonna have a couple minutes.
Then I started having heart-related symptoms like
We're only gonna have a couple minutes to end the show.
turns out I had
And then
heart failure caused by hereditary
That's good.
transplanted amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare, life-threatening disease underdiagnosed in African Americans. If you're African American and over 50 with heart failure experiencing unresolved symptoms, talk to your doctor or visit johnnosisheart.com. Talk to you. Bye.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Open Heart Dealers Talking Text line, 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. That's show you what you know is all things legal. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Mark. Hey, Mark. You know, all things legal.
Good morning.
Yeah, what you got? Hey, you got about 3 minutes. Gotta be quick. What you got, Mark?
Hey, guys, y'all there?
I'm here.
Okay, I got a question about the vaccine. I don't want it. I don't want to take it. I don't ever want it. I don't want anybody telling me I got to take it. I want to go to a train station and not have the vaccine. I heard a lady on the radio said, if you don't have the vaccine, stay home. But I want to go to the game without having the vaccine. They got poison in that stuff. They got mind-altering drugs in there, and you never know. They could stop your brain. They could give you a heart attack with that poison that's in the vaccine. And I don't ever want to have to take it. What are my legal rights?
Well, here, as far as legal rights are concerned, right
we
now,
talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, the vaccine's under emergency use authorization under as 21 USC 360. And basically, what it says is that while it's not approved by the FDA, there's significant known and potential benefits as well as unknown risk, as stated in the law. And basically, what it says is government cannot compel anyone to take it at this point. So under the emergency use authorization right now, you can't be compelled to do that. Now, some employers under at will employment in Louisiana are saying you have to take the vaccine or you'll lose your job, and that's sort of an issue that's legally in a state of flux. And so,
and the same thing with private organizations, federal government, state, local government. The company can say, look, we don't want this to be able to attend the game. We have to have this and this, and that's the decision that a private company can still make. But in terms of the municipal, state, federal, local levels, I think you'd have a pretty good argument to say that they can't enforce those provisions at this point with respect to the vaccine. They might be able to make you wear a mask or something like that, but in terms of the vaccine, it's a little more intrusive to your body personally, right?
So at this point, there's no requirement. Your employer may have a different view of that, and I think that's depending on your situation, but they cannot do it at this time. Once it becomes approved by the FDA, when it does, that would change to legal status, such as right now, if you go to college, they require vaccinations for certain vaccinations for meningitis and some other vaccinations that have been approved, and either you get them or you don't go to college. Now, there are exceptions. You can have an exception for religious reasons. You can have a physician's exception. And there's a question as to whether there's a state law, and there's a law in the legislature right now where you can do it based on conscience. But until that's all clarified, under the emergency use authorization, you're not required to get it. But on the other hand, government is sort of encouraging it in a way where they're saying, if you get the vaccination, you may get this. There's certain states that are doing lotteries. There's private organizations saying you get free French fries if you get it. So there's a lot of those type of situations where they're getting a lot of encouragement to do it, but you don't have to do it right now. And I think that is a debate as to what extent are people have the freedom to make that own decision themselves.
Right. What happened to my body, my choice? Right.
Well, yeah. Well, that's different
I
context.
know. That's the mantra of another movement, but again,
I think
let's let it
question. It's a fair question to say if you have children who have had 0 deaths from COVID, whether you want to give them the vaccination or not. That's different than someone in the situation who's in their 70s or 80s who has diabetes and heart disease. So, those are two different questions, and us citizens have the right to make that decision as government or that's to be seen. All right, Albert. We'll thanks so much. We'll be back next week on All Things Legal. And anything to close, Albert?
And that's all. Just be prepared for this hurricane season and take care during the week.
See you next week. Be good. Be blessed. Next week. Good God.
Home of LSU, 870 AM, WWL New Orleans, 105.3 WWL FM and HD1 Gander, New Orleans, an Odyssey station.